e o fundador da uGlobally, que, juntamente com o Kirill Mazur, da Office 42, concebeu o evento. Repito, mais uma vez, o grande trabalho do diplomata, secretário Fabiano Vollmann e da Natália, pela Embaixada do Brasil. O Rodrigo gosta da nossa confiança, esperamos que possa ser nosso parceiro em muitas outras iniciativas futuras. Desejo uma boa semana a todas, com reuniões muito frutíferas, que corra tudo bem, que a missão online seja um sucesso e possa contribuir para o crescimento das startups brasileiras. Muito obrigado. De volta a palavra ao Rodrigo.
Embaixador, muito obrigado pelas palavras, por essa introdução aí ótima. Uma das coisas que eu queria até pegar, né, do teu discurso para fazer um...
Não tem como prestar atenção. Pode levar isso aqui.
Pessoal, vou deixar vocês mutados aí.
Agora já
tem alguém que está com o microfone aberto aí. Deixa eu...
Zoeirada do cão.
Estou tentando achar aqui, achei quem que está. Pronto. Então, né, até queria pegar as palavras aí do embaixador para chamar a atenção para uma coisa em específica, né? O que a gente faz aqui na uGlobally é basicamente ajudar a empresa de tecnologia a expandir para novos países, né? E a gente trabalha, claro, com muita startup brasileira nesse caminho. E uma das coisas que a gente vê de muito comum é que os trajetórias, né, elas sempre vêm mais ou menos com a mesma rota, né? Então, uma startup brasileira acaba sempre considerando os Estados Unidos como primeira opção, acaba considerando Portugal, acaba considerando América Latina, né? E a gente acaba ficando cego para oportunidades que podem acontecer em outros países, né? Então, puxando de novo o que o embaixador falou, a nossa ideia aqui com essa missão é exatamente mostrar o que existe de possibilidade, né, dentro do ecossistema de inovação ucraniano, que é um ecossistema, né, que tem se desenvolvido muito aí nessa área de tecnologia, inovação, TI no geral, né? Vocês vão ver aí que tem várias empresas do mundo inteiro, né, e principalmente até 20%, né, da Fortune 500 que tem escritórios de P&D, né, ali na Ucrânia por conta do que está acontecendo, da qualidade da mão de obra, do quão inovador o povo, né, ucraniano é. Então, de fato, se esse pessoal está olhando para a Ucrânia, porque tem alguma coisa interessante acontecendo, né? E a nossa ideia aqui com essa agenda é exatamente mostrar, né, o que tem de possibilidade para vocês, mostrar como que vocês podem, né, aproveitar o que tem de bom aí nesse país para, né, conquistar o mundo com a empresa de vocês. Outra coisa que eu queria comentar, né, e deixar aí destacado é o fato de vocês estarem aqui hoje, né, também é uma coisa que eu queria, primeiro, né, destacar e dar o parabéns para todo mundo que foi selecionado, né? Eu acho que esse é um primeiro passo muito importante aí para todo mundo que está considerando conquistar o mercado global, né, entender o que faz mais sentido para sua empresa, entender onde que tem rotas aí que podem ser mais favoráveis, né, e a gente espera com essa agenda aí ajudar vocês. Então, nosso objetivo, de novo, né, é mostrar para vocês o que está acontecendo por aqui, e mais do que isso, é abrir as portas para caso você, né, decida de fato dar esse passo com a empresa de vocês, que vocês saibam para onde ir, né, vocês saibam quais são as pessoas para entrar em contato, o que você pode tirar, né, de proveito para sua empresa. O que eu queria fazer antes da gente começar, e antes da gente, né, chamar o nosso primeiro speaker e também o Kirill, é fazer um breve overview da agenda aí junto com vocês, o que a gente vai ver nos próximos dias, tá?
Rodrigo, se me permite um minutinho só queria
claro, por favor, embaixador.
Agregar uma coisa. Obrigado. Quando se fala de Ucrânia, eu cheguei aqui há 3 meses atrás, dezembro. Já tinha estado algumas vezes, mas rapidamente. Quando se fala em Ucrânia, se pensa em Ucrânia, no Brasil, a gente pensa num país que está em guerra, num país do leste europeu, num país distante, num país que não tem nenhuma proximidade com a gente. Só que, enfim, também ucranianos emigraram para o Brasil durante o século passado, uma conotação meio negativa, uma conotação meio de comunista, do Pacto de Varsóvia, do leste, e que está em guerra, que tem Donbás, que ocuparam a Crimeia, mas é um país que está muito distante dessa imagem que eu diria deturpada. É um país, eu já pouco viajei ainda, por pandemia e tal, só fui até Moldova, outro país aqui do lado, né? E fui de carro até o sul para depois chegar a Moldova. É um país onde as pessoas são educadas, as pessoas não jogam lixo na rua, as pessoas no trânsito te pedem, quando passam na sua frente, te pedem passagem, que você dá, eles ligam o pisca-alerta para agradecer. São pequenas coisas que a gente vê no dia a dia. E eu, como não falo ucraniano, como não falo russo, vou ao supermercado, estão sempre dispostos a ajudar, sabendo as minhas limitações linguísticas, dispostos a ajudar, dispostos a perguntar e tal. Isso eu acho importante ressaltar, porque a educação, que é a base de tudo, uma coisa que a gente, enfim, sofre no Brasil pela falta disso, né? Não é educação só formal, mas é aquela educação de casa. É um país que passou por tantas dificuldades e que está com esse boom em TI. Entendeu? Então, não é, mas como é que foram inventar a Ucrânia? Não, a Ucrânia está ali, não precisa ser inventada, está aqui, não precisa ser inventada. A gente que precisa descobrir. E, como disse o Rodrigo, fica muitas vezes focado como com antolhos para determinados países, achando que tem de tudo, e não olham fora da caixa. Né? Think outside the box. Tem que pensar fora da caixa, muitas vezes. Então, eu tenho muito boas expectativas em relação ao potencial de trabalho com a Ucrânia, porque estão dispostos, têm o que nos oferecer em vários setores, não só de TI. Estamos falando de defesa, que tem imbricações também, pode ter com TI, etc. Agribusiness, etc. Enfim. Então, mais uma vez, sucesso aí. Eu vou voltar para uma outra reunião que eu estou participando. Obrigado, Rodrigo.
Boa sorte,
obrigado a todos. Obrigado, Kirill. Boa semana a todos.
Obrigado pela participação. Então, gente, vamos lá. Antes da gente começar a nossa agenda aí, eu vou compartilhar minha tela e eu quero passar rapidinho, né, pelos 5 dias que a gente vai ter juntos aí. E aí a gente começa, de fato, com a nossa missão. Deixa eu só achar aqui, share screen. Pronto, vocês estão vendo minha tela aí, pessoal? Faz assim, se alguém... obrigado, já que o microfone está mudo, né? Então, vamos lá. Algumas coisas importantes, né, antes da gente começar. As aulas são todas em inglês, né, porque, como vocês devem bem saber, português não é uma língua falada muito popularmente na Ucrânia. Então, a gente vai fazer tudo em inglês. Eu vou fazer sempre, né, enquanto a gente for conversando, umas pausas para fazer uns highlights específicos que eu posso fazer em português também. Mas se vocês tiverem alguma dúvida, quiserem saber alguma coisa, podem mandar no chat em português e eu vou traduzir daí a pergunta para vocês no final. Então, a ideia é que toda apresentação que a gente tiver vai ser mais ou menos 45 minutos e já tem, né, incluso nesses 45 minutos um espaço para perguntas e respostas, tá? Outra coisa que eu achei bem importante mencionar, a ideia aqui é que vocês tenham acesso às pessoas que estão aqui depois, né? E todo mundo que está se dispondo a vir aqui, falar um pouco sobre a Ucrânia, né, e passar esses insights para vocês, eles também estão dispostos a conversar depois, né, e explorar o que pode ser feito aí no próximo passo. Então, né, eu deixo aí vocês super à vontade para, né, entrar em contato, né, incentivo vocês a fazerem isso, para realmente tirar o que pode ter de melhor, né, de organizar ou de participar dessa missão aí, tá? Vamos lá. Agora o que eu quero fazer rapidinho aqui, né, a gente está fazendo essa introdução, a gente vai começar aí já logo em seguida, né, com uma apresentação da Nataly, que é a pessoa responsável pelo Tech Ukraine, sobre, né, um overview do mercado, quais são os desafios e oportunidades. E depois a gente vai ter aí o Dominique, que é o CEO do UNIT.City, ele vai falar, obviamente, muito melhor do que eu, mas o principal parque tecnológico do leste europeu, né, falando um pouco sobre tech clusters e como que eles podem ajudar vocês aí a entrar nesse mercado. A gente dividiu cada dia com um tópico específico, eu acho que vocês devem ter percebido. Então, hoje a gente está falando de ecossistema. Amanhã a gente vai falar um pouco sobre ajuda de governo. Então, a gente vai ter 2 entidades públicas aí, né, falando sobre, primeiro, a atração de investimento estrangeiro, né? Então, como que a Ucrânia pode ser, né, se a gente for traduzir o pé da letra, amigável para a empresa de vocês. E como que você pode levantar investimento também para conseguir, né, estabelecer essa operação e crescer aí no mercado. Terceiro dia, a gente vai falar sobre talento, né? E vocês vão ver que talento é uma palavra-chave no sistema ucraniano. Então, a gente vai ter tanto gente que veio, né, e expandiu para a Ucrânia, quanto um pouco mais de tendências, né? E o que você tem que fazer caso você queira contratar alguém aí, quais são os insights nesse sentido. Na quinta-feira, a gente fala sobre dinheiro, que eu acho que é interessante para todo mundo. E a gente vai falar um pouco sobre o mercado de VC, né? Obviamente, e também um pouco sobre qual que é o cenário, né, de investimento para quem quer levantar ali na Ucrânia. E para acabar, a gente fala sobre realmente operação, né? Eu acho que esse, apesar de ser um assunto menos sexy, digamos assim, é um assunto tão quanto importante, né? Que a gente fala sobre incorporação de empresas, sobre imposto, sobre como que as coisas funcionam numa parte prática para fazer negócio na Ucrânia. E a gente acaba aí fazendo um recap, né? Eu quero trazer quais foram os highlights de toda a nossa missão, né? Para a gente acabar aí trazendo esse entendimento geral e estipular próximos passos aí. Espero que todo mundo saia com o pezinho, né, pelo menos a porta aberta para entrar na Ucrânia. Sem mais delongas, né, eu vou parar de falar aqui, vamos passar porque é interessante. E agora eu vou mudar para o inglês, né, para a gente começar a incluir nossos amigos ucranianos. Kirill, are you there?
Yeah.
I think
I am, yeah.
You were on mute. At least I cannot hear you.
Do you hear me now?
Can you guys hear Kirill, or is it just me that I can't?
Yes, I can.
I can hear him. Okay, so it's probably only me that cannot hear you, Kirill. Yeah, so since another one listening to you, maybe you can introduce yourself and I'll figure my thing out here.
Yeah. Bom dia. That's not what I know, but I hope to learn something because I hope to do something with you first the next months. I believe some of you will learn something from us, from Ukrainian speakers, and we'll find some good ways how we can cooperate with each other. My name is Kirill Mazur. I am CEO of Center 42 Innovation Agency. And my organization is focusing on helping corporations to work with startups and to launch corporate startup collaboration in many different ways. For the last 10 years, I'm part of Ukrainian tech ecosystem, and I was for 5 years, I was part of venture capital fund, and we have invested around $11 million in 40 companies in Ukraine. And I also spent 2 years to launch UNIT.City Innovation District, and we will have today the CEO of UNIT.City Innovation District, who will tell you more about this amazing place in Ukraine. I was helping Rodrigo for like a couple of months to establish the agenda of this event, and I hope that it will cover all needs you need to know about Ukraine. And if you will need something more about the local market, you can ask all speakers, and of course you can ping me and write with all questions you have about our local market. I believe and I hope that it will be really useful for you, because local market is booming, and probably it will be really like interesting for all of you. I will not tell more about myself or our organization. You can learn more about on our website. I hope you will join this event. And if everything is done in organizational part, I think we can continue and give words to Natalia. Yeah,
that's perfect. Yeah, Kirill, thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay, so I will introduce Natalia. Natalia with us. I saw you. Do you hear us?
Yes. Hi, everyone. I'm here.
Yeah.
Yes. Hello.
I will briefly introduce Natalia. I know Natalia for a few years, and she's super active in Ukrainian tech scene, and she's doing a lot of great initiatives which promote Ukrainian tech market globally. And she works with startups, with corporations, with key ecosystem players, and I believe she knows a lot about Ukrainian market. And she's our first speaker today. And I invited Natalia to introduce Ukrainian tech scene because I think she is the best person who can make it. So Natalia, please tell more about you, and the stage is yours.
Yes, thank you so much, Kirill, for this introduction, and I'm really happy and delighted to welcome all of you here on your mission to get to know Ukraine more. And I'm really very happy and delighted to really open this window of opportunities that you will be exploring further during this week and this time scale that Rodrigo has just announced. So let me share the screen and give you a few glimpses on Ukrainian tech ecosystem so that I'm just giving the overall overview, and then probably over the course of time, you will get to know more and more about Ukrainian tech ecosystem. So let me share my screen. Okay, one moment, I will launch first the slides, slideshow. Okay, so my desktop, Microsoft, just one moment, probably this one. Share. Is it already sharing, or do you see my screen? No, not yet. Okay, just a moment. Do you see it now?
Now, yes.
Okay, awesome. So tech ecosystem of Ukraine, what is it like? I'm going to speak about some findings and also about some cooperation opportunities. But first, a few words about me. So my name is Nataly Veremeeva. I'm in IT industry since 2005. Since 2014, I'm building communities, and I was building first volunteer communities. And since 2017, I was the CEO and then the board member of Kyiv IT cluster. That's the capital cluster of Ukraine. And I was involved into the export strategy for Ukraine as a national coordinator in 1918, and since 2018, respectively in 2019, I'm the director of Tech Ukraine, and Tech Ukraine is a national platform, the objective of which is to develop systematically the tech ecosystem of Ukraine, and we are derived from this expert strategy and also take the ideas from there, how to develop the ecosystem, what are the challenges and what are the solutions. So speaking a little bit about Tech Ukraine as such, so what we do, so we formulated several initiatives in several directions. We do the portal where we gather all the information about Ukrainian tech ecosystem, and you can go to techukraine.org and get to know about tech hubs, about showcases, about news, about some events, about tech ecosystem in general. So please feel free to go there and explore some additional information about Ukrainian tech ecosystem, some news and some fresh information that will also add up to your understanding and knowledge of Ukrainian tech market. We also do some other programs like uGlobally, internationalization readiness programs for startups, startup in residence, connecting startups to cities, Tech Ukraine pavilions, and also run Tech Ukraine Changemaker community. That is the objective of which is to unite all ecosystem builders in one place and also do the systematic coordination. And also we provide services for internationals. So if you are interested in some deeper work with Ukrainian tech ecosystem, you can also reach us out, and we will find a way to help you. So now speaking about the tech ecosystem overview. The first thing just to emphasize here is that our roots are coming from already back from 1951, where that was one of the interesting dates. One of the first computers in Europe was developed by Sergei Lebedev, that's a Kyiv-based scientist. And so from this date, and also you see the other dates here, you can see that we have quite serious scientific background in informatics and information technology, and research institutes, and also the scientists and all this background was present when we started our business part. And business part, of course, started in 1991, when Ukraine gained independence and started to interact actively with the Western market. And that's actually one of the starting dates of our IT companies, that they started just to interact with the Western market in a more active way than before. And before, you can see the scientific also background background that we also participated in this global trends of information technology. And then speaking about the present situation. So at the moment, Ukrainian IT is quite solid, and around 80%, according to some calculations, still is occupied by the outsourcing industry, or at least that was the situation several years ago. Now maybe it is changing, and products and startups are becoming more and more active and more just taking the share of our local IT market. But generally, you can see that if we're speaking about Ukraine as such, we're quite a big country. So we have around 42 million population. This population is quite educated. Around 80–90% of them do have like secondary and tertiary education. That's quite a trend here. So it's an educated population with European mentality that is located, and that's the second biggest country in Europe after France. So we're also big in territory, and also we are big in population, and this population is quite educated. You can see also here the numbers: 172,000 IT professionals, 23,000 annual engineering graduates. That means that we are having constant supply of Ukrainian IT professionals that are coming to universities and that are actually graduating and are ready just to join the growing numbers of IT industry. We also have quite a number of IT service companies here. The numbers are 245 IT companies with more than 550 employees, but this is not the fresh dates. I think that's 2-3 years. The report is 2 or 3 years old, so now it's also growing, and around 750 plus IT service companies in general. So the figures may vary, but that's the basis. Also, we can see that there are good ranks, and that means global recognition of Ukrainian IT industry. We were recognized #1 offshoring destination by Global Sourcing Association in 2017, #4 International Math Olympiad rank, #6 Programmers Activity by top quarter, and also you can see the other numbers here. That actually means that we are really an active player and with high quality of our resources and services. If we're speaking about generally the ecosystem and also what is present in Ukrainian IT market. So we do have several hubs present in the country. So it's not focused in one location, but actually IT is spread throughout the country. But the key ones are, of course, Kyiv, that's the capital. Then we have Lviv, that's closer to the western side, and Lviv is actually bordering with the European Union, with Poland. So it's like really our European part, so to say, the western part. Then we have Kharkiv, that is bordering with Russia, and that's also a very serious technological center with good scientific backgrounds. Dnipro, Cherkasy, Vinnytsia, Zaporizhia, and Odessa. And we're classically we're recognizing 5 our top hubs: Kyiv, Kharkiv, Dnipro, Odessa, and Lviv. Others are smaller, but still they're also growing, and other locations that are not named here are also quite active in developing the IT potential. Then speaking about generally our also recognition here, we do have our service companies, like not only this list, but these are just some for the example. And then you can see to your right the selected clients, and you can see probably also some names that are recognizable. For example, ING, Amazon, Adobe, SAP, NASDAQ, Thomas Cook, SAS, and others. So our service companies are not just selling heads, although some of the companies still do, like this dedicated teams is quite a popular format. But the tendency here is to become more and more mature, to become more service and solutions providers rather than just selling hours. And our top IT service companies are actually servicing more than 100 out of Fortune 500 clients. That means that we're providing service of quite high quality. Speaking about investors map, several years ago, that was not so crowded, but now like this is their edition of the report of 2020, and you can see that the number of foreign investors is quite significantly growing. Like I wasn't showing you the slide of several years ago, but then in Series A, the foreign investors were really very rare. There was only TMT investments, and now you can see that there are much more investors that entered the market and that are actively searching for startups to invest. So this map is more busy than it was 2-3 years ago. And you can see that the investors are present both for seed, Series A and growth stage, both local and foreign. We also have quite a number of companies that are already successful on international market, not only Ukrainian. Ukrainian market as such is not very big and still needs to have just development. So this is a very good niche, and that's a huge potential here, and it's growing. But most of our successful product companies are also successful internationally. And here, Deposit Photos, Jubal, Grammarly are the ones that you might know. MacPaw, Ajax, for example. MacPaw is their application that is #1 in its segment, that is the service software for MacBooks. So in this segment, they are really in the leadership position. Then our loud story of 2020 is Reface, and I'm going to speak about this a little bit later, and others. So you can actually also look at this presentation maybe later and Google all these names. Bitfury, Grammarly, and GitLab are our unicorns. Others are also growing and going in this direction as well. Coming back to the ecosystem, apart from hubs, we also have a number of course, organizations. So we have different types of associations, among which is the IT Ukraine Association, the association of UVCA, Ukrainian Venture Capital Association. You have Software Ukraine Association, so quite a number of different various associations. But apart from them, we also have clusters. Clusters are not financed by the government here. These are also some type of organizations, associations with the membership model, which taking the objective of developing their local ecosystems that are connected to their cities or to their regions. You can also, I think, reach out to these clusters and ask them for some help or advice or anything. They will be very happy also just to help you, because their objective is to bring value to their members and also to help develop their regions in this or that way. Apart from product companies and apart from this investment parts, we of course are already attracting the attention of global players, and these global players are actively interested in our startups. And you can see, like here, for example, Google bought Viewdle, Amazon bought Ring, and that was one of our loud deals because the volume of the deal was around $1 billion, which was quite a significant number. And so in this way, we also got recognized that the inventions from Ukraine are interesting for such global players. Or Snapchat bought Luxury, or BlaBlaCar bought Podorozhniki UA, and others. So you can also see these labels here that already bought some of our startups. Apart from startups, product companies, and service companies, we also have such directions as R&D centers that are based in Ukraine. So speaking about the geography of these R&D centers, the majority comes from the USA, but also European Union is also quite actively represented. We have 6 R&D centers from United Kingdom, 5 from Belgium, 5 from Denmark, 4 from Poland and Germany, 6 from Israel, 6 from Russia still, and 1 from Belarus, but also South Korea and China and Australia, even also like a bit more remote countries are also interested in Ukraine. And as you can see, they also opened their R&D centers. if we're speaking about names, who exactly are present on Ukrainian market when speaking about R&D, so you can see here also some quite famous names such as Samsung and Oracle and Huawei and again Snapchat, Boeing, Ericsson, Magento, Siemens, Netcracker. So also quite big companies already entrusted their operations to Ukrainian market. So speaking about more fresh events, so that was just general overview about just generally what is happening. And so like, again, to emphasize, like we have several subsectors in Ukraine. So one of the subsectors is IT service companies that are providing solutions and services of software development. And that's where we started from. And that's still the big majority of the market, but also we have successful product companies, startups, R&D centers, and also e-commerce, for example, platforms are also very actively developing, and also some local companies that are servicing the local market.
Natalia, sorry, do you mind if I just stop you for 1 second and do this quick overview again in Portuguese, just to make sure that is 100% got, because I think it's nice to highlight that as well. Very important information.
Sorry?
Do you mind if I stop for 2 seconds?
Yeah, sure,
30, sure. But just to make the same overview in Portuguese, just because I think it's very important that people have this information stick to their heads.
Ok,
Yeah.
awesome.
Ok,
yeah.
Então, pessoal, só queria, né, às vezes o inglês fica muito rápido, eu queria só, né, de novo, destacar o que ela falou, que eu acho que é fundamental para a gente entender um pouco o caminho que esse ecossistema, né, da onde que ele surgiu, da onde que vem tanta força e para onde está vindo o direcionamento, né, que é o que ela vai começar a falar agora. Mas muito legal ver que, né, desde sempre a Ucrânia sempre foi, né, muito influente nessa parte de IT, né, e que até então a grande força deles veio principalmente dessa questão do outsource, né, então muito escritório de pesquisa e desenvolvimento que vai para lá, inclusive de grandes empresas, né, e o que ela mostrou ali que eu acho que é o mais legal que eu queria destacar é que você vê algumas regiões muito fortes no país, né, e outra coisa que é a presença dessas grandes empresas, né, dessa Fortune 500, também influencia e cria uma relação mais fácil com as empresas que estão ali, né? Então você vê Snapchat comprando uma outra empresa, você vê o Google comprando uma empresa local, porque, né, enfim, você está mais próximo, né? Por ter esse escritório lá, acaba gerando essa vantagem de você estar muito próximo de quem faz a decisão, né? Então acho que é bem legal destacar isso aí para vocês levarem em consideração como um motivo, né, interessante da Ucrânia. Natalia, sorry. Yeah, I just thought that was very important.
Yes, I agree with you. Thank you very much for also enforcing the message. And yes, I will then go and maybe at the end of each section, Rodrigo, I will stop and then maybe you can do the same, because I think that is really very nice.
That sounds beautiful. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so speaking about the 2020 and some giving you also some glimpses about the key events that were happening this year. So first of all, we are keeping attracting attention of global giants, and in 2020 we have several really key events, one of which is Google finally entered and opened their official R&D center in Ukraine. So before they were also buying some startups, but now they already have opened R&D center. Also, Apple registered the Ukrainian legal entity. For us, that's an achievement. Of course, they were present here and were selling their devices and applications, but now they have the Apple Ukraine Limited Liability Company. La French Tech, their initiative, the French Ecosystem Initiative, also entered Ukraine and opened R&D, their office in Kyiv. And I'm happy to announce that Dominique Piotet, that is also going to speak later, is their official representative, and we are happy to partner with UNIT.City and with Dominique in this as a CEO of UNIT.City. So they are. He is acting in two roles, and La French Tech with him enforced their positions here in Ukraine, which we are very happy about. Then we also have Viber, one of the messaging applications, also opening their R&D centers, and Spotify also, and Reddit, they all opened their offices. Then speaking about other direction deals, yes, there is a person that wanted to ask something, raised hand. Shall I pause and let the questions, or shall we have the questions at the end?
I think it's better in the end. Then I'll just get a question with him, and yeah, Anders, so I'll send you a private message, and then we keep going.
Okay. So,
no problem.
Okay, so speaking about the deals, there is also very good and interesting tendency here. If you look at their scale, you can see that most of the deals before that, like the high rankings of the overall number of deals, was due to growth and secondary stage deals. And in 2020, you can see that also seed deals doubled, Series A deals grew even bigger than twice, Series B also grew, and growth and secondary were not so big this year as before, which is also quite understandable because of the COVID and pandemics thing. But still, the numbers were not lower, but higher than previous year. And also the risky deals, the seed, the Series A deals actually grew, which is a very good tendency and very good, good trust in Ukrainian startups. And in this, especially in this quite difficult situation on the global market. And the overall number is $571 million US. The key investments went to these companies that you see here: Restream.io, D-Market, Class Stack, All Right, Leaky24, Preply, Mobalytics, Zakaz.ua. And out of these, I think interesting case is Leaky24. That's platform for connecting drugstores with the customers. So that was quite demanded, especially now in this year where e-health and all the solutions that were connected to medications were in demand. So it was already very popular here in Ukraine, and they opened also their operations, I think, in Poland, and also thinking about other countries. So that's also one of the history of success. Yes, speaking more about Ukrainian successes, as already mentioned, we have 3 unicorns already present. That's GitLab, Bitfury, and Grammarly. So they are not located currently, like registered here in Ukraine. They're having their headquarters in other locations, but that's still Ukrainian companies with their development teams here, and also quite a big number of operations also present here. Then we also have such companies as People AI, Ajax, Airstate, and Genesis that are also growing, actively growing, and on the way of becoming unicorns. And out of these, I think Ajax is also very interesting company that is providing security software and also hardware for Ukrainian companies, but also abroad. Also probably important to mention what Grammarly, for example, is doing. So Grammarly is a very interesting case for us because that is the application, that is the service that is improving grammar, like US grammar for users that we're using, like browsers and also like everywhere. So actually it's like present and it corrects the grammar mistakes, the spelling mistakes, and also the stylistics mistakes. And interesting that it is done by Ukrainians, but the level of English and the level of this machine learning algorithms is so high that it is becoming one of the top grammar improvement or like language improvement, English language improvement applications worldwide, which is something that we're really proud of. And the GitLab, for example, that's the application that is helping software developers, or rather software that is helping software developers to have their repositories and keep their software like with the right versions and like do the correct software development job. Also speaking about our successes, there is also something to mention. SoftServe application, SoftServe company that is doing software development. They started, that's one of the first software companies that started when Ukraine gained independence in 1991. They started their operations, I think, already back in 1990. So even before we gained independence, but we already were on track on that. And they started as their outsourcing company. So they did the software outsourcing. And since then they grew, so they became really massive, and now they have over 8,000 employees and over 200 million in revenue. They are already present in different locations worldwide. If you visit their site, you can see that they are really global currently, and they are not doing some pure software development just on demand. They are providing solutions. They are competing with Microsoft and Accenture and IBM and other similar giants on doing some really complex solutions for end customers. Then speaking about mergers and acquisitions, I'm not going to give you a lot of different details. You can see that these things are happening at the moment, and different companies are buying each other. I'm not sure that you know all these names. Just generally, this is like happening. For example, Jubal bought Hotwork, Grid Dynamics bought DAX, Xdraft bought a non-it company, etc. So here, I think the important trend and the important message is that both international companies are buying Ukrainian companies, and also Ukrainian companies are also currently buying other Ukrainian companies. And generally, the tendency of the market is just it's becoming more mature. And with this mergers and acquisitions, there is a certain positive dynamics on having less smaller companies and just becoming bigger and more experienced, more mature, and also, how do you say it, centralized, I would say, in their operations. For example, DAX is not a product company, that's a service company. So this process is also happening within this sector as well. And then the success story of 2020, Reface AI, that's something that I mentioned before. That's an AI-powered app that allows to swap faces. So you can, on one video, replace a famous actor with your own face and have this short video clip as if you were playing this role, and that became really popular. So its key numbers currently, the current numbers are 70 million downloads since its launch in January 2020, which is quite a big number. Got in top 5 leading apps in around 100 countries, including ranking #1 in the US. Product of the Week award at Product Hunt at January 2020. Google Play Best Fun App in 2020. 8 million monthly downloads in App Store and Google Play, and 7.72 out of 5 cumulative rating in Google Play. So that actually shows that it became really a massive success. And it's growing, and it was featured in global media, in Forbes, in Vogue Business, in The Verge, in The Sun. So we are very happy and proud just to know that this application comes from Ukraine. And so hopefully Ukrainian brand is also going to be more recognized worldwide. Another success story here is Ukraine becomes the 9th country joining the NASA space program Artemis. One of our companies, Firefly Aerospace Black LLC, was awarded by NASA's Launch Services program to launch small satellites to space, including CubeSats, microsats, or nanosatellites. And so the value of the contract is 9.8 million. And here the important thing to emphasize and to notice is that so we are not just providing some simple solutions. We are able to do really complex software solutions, and we do have startups and product companies that are operating on this level of complexity so that we can even join space programs. Another, like I think one of the last things to mention about rankings and awards. So Ukraine became one of top 30 ecosystems globally, and Kyiv became the European hub, according to the Startup Ecosystem Rankings 2020 by Startup Link. And here we at Tech Ukraine are really happy also by this achievement, because we became the ecosystem partner of this report and provided the information, and we we hope that also this information allowed to increase the rankings, because by providing the information, we of course are giving more visibility and transparency about Ukrainian market. We also were ranked number 4 in technology globally, according to Coursera's second edition of the Global Skills Index. And we were one of 50 most innovative economies according to Global Innovation Index 2020, which means that we keep being globally recognized as an ecosystem. So this is end of the next chapter, and Rodrigo, probably I will give you the word to give the short overview of things mentioned in Portuguese.
No, thank you very much. I'll be very quick, just to make sure that we keep going. Mas eu acho que, de novo, né, gente, o que vocês viram aí são alguns fatos concretos, né, que realmente constroem exatamente no que eu falei ali no começo, né? A presença dessas empresas tem chamado a atenção, né, e a qualidade que eles têm desenvolvido de software, que eles têm trazido de desenvolvedor, que eles têm, enfim, criado, né, nessa história, né? Eu acho que tudo que ela mostrou ali com a questão dos deals, com a questão, né, do que foi feito, merge and acquisitions, enfim, tudo isso só prova, né, a qualidade dos produtos que eles estão desenvolvendo, né? Mesma coisa com os rankings ali. Não vou entrar muito mais em detalhes e falar, né, tudo que ela comentou, para a gente ganhar tempo aí e continuar com essa parte final aí, tá bom? Natalia, all yours.
Thank you so much, Rodrigo. Yes, so speaking currently about cooperation opportunities. So you see generally like there is big potential. We have different sectors, we have developed ecosystem, we have already our successes and our resources. So what's in it for you? So first of all, human potential and human capital. Currently, IT specializations are very popular in the country. I would even call this Ukrainian dream, because if you're smart and if you master IT, you can go there and earn good money. And that actually attracts a lot of talent from all over the country to join IT. And we even have a phrase, enter IT. Even those that are working in other industries are currently refocusing on IT, because IT is our industry that is interacting with the global world, and that's an opportunity also to get good salaries and also get self-realization. And you can see here also by numbers from 2011 to 2016, the number of specialists grew 144%, and it's even currently it's accelerating. So the estimation from 2017 was to have 242,000 people by 2025, but currently the number is more than 200 according to our estimations. So I think that we're going to outreach this number, and maybe it's going to be significantly bigger than we estimated in 2017. We also do have the background and the resources to make it happen. So you see here that we have our key cities throughout the country, and these key cities have quite a big list of different universities that are present in cities. Some bigger ones have more than one. For example, in Kyiv, we have 4 key universities that are preparing tech graduates. In Kharkiv, we have 3. In Lviv, we have 2, and also one that is smaller, but also very, very high level. That's a Catholic university. And in Dnipro, we have 2. In others, we have 1. Like this is the key ones, like the top universities. But also we have more, because if you look at the overall numbers, so we have around 150 universities graduating tech talent across all regions of Ukraine, which is even more. And as already mentioned, 23,000 technical graduates per year, but this number can also be growing, because, and also this is a number that we're taking from the official universities that are graduate in talent. But we also have corporate universities currently, like such big companies as SoftServe or some others of the similar size, also having their corporate universities. And then we have courses preparing tech talent from other industries that want to just to join IT. So the numbers are really massive, and the possibilities of increasing the number of tech talent are also quite significant. Then speaking about their specializations. Generally, like the general specialization is software, high-tech overall, but of course we do also see the trends of becoming more specialized. For example, we have strong specialization in financial services and fintech, healthcare and life sciences, media and entertainment. Also, we have some positions in retail, in telecom, insurance, and security. And if we're speaking about activity areas and so the roles here, so you see that we also have the most popular ones present at web application development, mobile application development, UA, UX, architecture and technical design, software testing, big data and analytics, research and development. So all the roles that are necessary for successful development of the product are present. And also here it's also important to mention that new technologies are also getting recognized, and the ecosystem is flexibly reacting on this. For example, like big data specialists, AI specialists, and also neural networks, computer vision, AR, VR, blockchain, they are all present. Of course, we are working on making universities adopt this as specializations, so they are not so flexible as we want them to be, but still the market is solving this by help of private courses, also by help of some unofficial courses at universities and also official ones, because universities are really also seeing the opportunity and speeding up in preparing the talent of these new technologies that are emerging. So generally, Ukraine has a lot to offer. The most important thing, the tech talent, and this tech talent is also provided by the universities. We do have quite varied ecosystem and also companies, and of course talent is also coming from one company to another one, so we have a lot of experienced entrepreneurs and also software developers with some good backgrounds in different industries, really very varied ones, also thanks to our outsourcing part that actually was the ground that helped to prepare this talent with this type of experience. And also we do have quite big territory with good also pricing models, because Ukraine is not so expensive as European Union. For example, of course, the talent is expensive, but there are other things like rent, like also taxation and other things that are not so big. So it's affordable to do business in Ukraine if you want to open an R&D center. And we're also very competitive if you want to get the service provider who will be doing the development job for you. So we are, like, of course, having less amounts of like less prices than again European Union. Of course, the US is much more expensive. So there are a lot of different opportunities, be it an opportunity for you scouting a startup, where we do have very interesting things, very interesting companies that are present, or you want to open your R&D center, it's also possible. And also there are a lot of service companies that are helping, like legal, HR, some other, whatever you need, they are also present on the market, so you can find them, or you can also reach us out for us to help you do the matchmaking, because we provide this type of service. Then you also can find a client, or rather not the client, but the executive for your project, if you want to do the software development, like the turnkey solution, or want to open a dedicated center, or hire a dedicated team for your business. Or if you want also to enter the market, that's also possible. That's a little bit more challenging because the market is not so mature, the local one, but it is developing, and that's also something that you can do. And finding the right partner that will be helping you to enter the market is also a good solution for your business. So that's the end of this part. Rodrigo, if you can, I think that I have finished, so like I will finish, and then I will give you the words just to translate it in Portuguese. So the final thing to mention is that, yes, if you have any questions or if you need any help entering the market or finding the right partner here, feel free to contact us, or also please visit our website for more information about Ukrainian tech market. And good luck to you here. I hope it will be a very beneficial and very good experience of yours doing business with Ukraine. We're happy to help build bridges, and so bon voyage.
Amazing, Natalia. First of all, thank you very much. Well, for me, that's also very interesting information because, of course, even though we know a bit about Ukraine, I think the whole storyline that you tell us is just amazing, and it really let us understand where you guys are, why you guys there right now, where do you want to go, and what is good for the companies that are, at least considering Ukraine, right? So what I want to do, and then enjoy a bit more of our time together, instead of translating, and I can do that when we finish the whole session later. But we have questions, and I think that's more interesting. Is that okay? Can I ask you some things?
Sure. Sure.
Yeah, so there are two questions, and then people, and let me say that in Portuguese very fast. Gente, se vocês tiverem perguntas aí, mandem agora. Eu fiz a propaganda que brasileiro sempre interage bastante, então não me deixem na mão. Mas eu acho que essa é a hora que a gente até aproveita mais o conteúdo, porque dá para deixar ele mais pessoal, né? But Natalia, sorry, there are two questions already. The first one is quite simple, and that is, can you share the presentation with us later? Because that's very good information there.
Sure, yes.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. That's one. And the second one is from Anderson. That's why he raised his hand at that point. But he wanted to know a bit more about the clean tech sector. So he's interested to know if there is anything specific, if that's an area of focus in Ukraine, and if there is any kind of specific incentive for clean tech companies.
Yes, we do have active dynamics in clean tech. Unfortunately, I don't have companies right now that I can share with you, but we have their ecosystem builder green incubator. That's the name of it. I can also provide you with the link maybe later after I finish like talking. I can search for the link and post it on the chat. So that's the accelerator that is like helping clean tech companies to develop. That's one of our really active sectors. We have green energy, and we have some other directions. I'm not really ready just to give you the overview here, but I can send you this link to the website, and you can reach out to that person, and he will tell you a lot about clean tech because he is really passionate about this.
Very nice, thanks. I'm pretty sure that's going to be very helpful. We have the next speaker here, so I'll try to do maybe one or two questions, and we can be fast. One of them is if we have any plan of learning about Ukrainian culture, and I think that is more for our program than to you, Natalia. But the idea is that we get a lot of these insights throughout the presentations, of course. So you learn, more about the business culture in general. That is for Ronaldo. And then Halfi also asked, what is the average between a seed round and a Series A in Ukraine? What is the average value?
Let me come back to the presentation. The average seed rounds, let me see. I'm actually, I'm actually also not ready to give you the current number, but I will look into this and give you this later probably, or I would rather do this the following. I know that in the course you will have Olga Afanasieva, the director of UVC, the CEO of UVC, and she is into investments. So I'm just giving you the general overview. I'm not really focused on specific numbers on investments or anything, but she is. So you can actually postpone and ask this question to her. I think that she will be able to answer this. And speaking about the culture, Rodrigo, if I can just give you several things about this. So I would say that Ukrainians are quite open and they're really emotional, and just we're closer to the, there are Northerners and Southerners, so we're really more emotional here. But at the same time, Sometimes we are just reserved, so we need just to really build some trust, just because overall we are nice and thing, but we do invest our time in making some trusted connections, and that actually takes time. Sometimes like we really have this mix of some, like sometimes we have this non-smiley faces, but when you get to know each other more, we're really opening up and just becoming more ready just to cooperate. There is a little bit of difference between the Western and the Eastern part. Westerners are more like really having their self-pride, and they are really more this type of business culture closer to European one. Western part, they are more like I would say business oriented, but more in a very business like way, like closer to maybe American way. Like these are my subjective feelings. Well, generally we are quite honest and quite open for cooperations. Creative. Sometimes, again, it depends on the person. We can be relaxed and even lazy sometimes, but not so often. Like if you're speaking to professionals, they are, of course, structured. Generally, the population of Ukraine can be also not so structured, so we are working on this. And we attend also one of the tendencies here is we had before strong anarchist movements. So we really don't like centralized powers, but more like taking responsibility and taking actions ourselves. Though of course it varies from person to person and from company to company.
Oh, very nice, and also very important, and especially because in Brazil we're very used to do business one way. So just the fact that you understand that there are differences, I think that's already very important for first approaches, and also understanding how you build those relationships with Ukrainians. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, here it's important to notice that Ukraine was part of different empires before, and that actually also affected that different regions have a little bit of different aspects of also business culture as well. So it could be really a little bit different. Of course, we still are one nation and we have one thing in common, but there are certain peculiarities, and the country is big. So yes, this also could happen. But if you are speaking about Kyiv, if you want to do business with the capital, of course, we have everything mixed here together. So it's like more or less like unanimous, but in this very multinational way.
Very nice. Natalia, thank you very much. We have a lot of questions coming up, so thanks, guys. But unfortunately, we don't have enough time because we have another speaker also on the line. So maybe what I'll do is just one short last one, and then I'll give the words, well, of course, to Natalia to say goodbye, and then Kirill. But Natalia, if companies want to go to Ukraine and they want to reach out to you, what is the best way to do it? And I know you mentioned a bit, but how can you also help them give this first step?
If the companies want to reach out to Ukraine, they can write us an email. So there were the contacts, my contacts in the presentation, so you can use them. What we can do, we're currently launching our services section, in which we are going to do the matching of external companies with the internal partners. So we have a list of our partners, and so we are knowing who is doing what on the market. So we can do this matching services and also provide some additional consulting if needed with the help of our team and also external consultants with whom we are cooperating. So that's the best way. Or of course, you can actually also make use of the free information on our web portal, techukraine.org. Please feel free to explore it. And if you have any questions, I think our like 20 minutes, 30-minute call is free. So you can just call us and just collect some additional information and see if it can be helpful to you.
Right. Amazing.
Thank you a lot, Natalia, for joining us and sharing the information.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much
for inviting me to. Yes, thank you, Rodrigo, and thank you all for listening. So I hope that was useful for you.
I would offer to take the stage to Dominique because we're running out of time a little bit. Dominique, are you with us?
Yes, I am with you guys.
Great. I just want to say one small thing. I saw a lot of questions about the government and government support. Tomorrow we will have 2 speakers from government side, so we can deep dive closer into this topic. So I hope you will find answers in that area as well. Now I would like to introduce Dominique, who is a great person and who is running the UNIT.City Innovation District. And actually, Dominique is French-American who came to Ukraine and helping us to promote and grow the ecosystem. I just will give the stage to you, Dominique, and please present us the UNIT.City and opportunities you have. Thanks for joining us, actually.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's my pleasure. Can you hear me well? It's all good? Good, excellent. Well, I'm super happy to be with you guys. As Kirill mentioned, I'm Dominique. I am French and American. I did spend a lot of my life in Silicon Valley in San Francisco. I'm an entrepreneur, and I came to Ukraine 18 months ago to become the CEO of UNIT.City. What we're going to do is I'm going to give you kind of a brief overview of the Ukrainian ecosystem. I'm sure with Nataly we had a lot, and she's great. Actually, we're working a lot together. I'm going to give you kind of a brief overview of that ecosystem, and then try to think of how that can help for global companies, and then a brief example of UNIT.City. So I'm going to share my screen. There you go. There you go. And hopefully you can see my screen. Yes, I think so. I think it works, right?
Yeah. Well, not anymore.
It's good? It's working?
No, we only see your background now. So the home thing with nothing.
You don't see anything. Okay, that's interesting. And how is it now?
Yeah, now, because I think you're putting on the other screen.
Yes, excellent. Okay, good. So here we go. I want to start with a video actually that we really like. I'm not going to put the music. You're gonna just see the background. Actually, a lot of those images are from actually UNIT.City. And that the idea is kind of to give you a little bit of a background on what is happening in Ukraine. One of the things we see in Ukraine is a lot of outsourcing, as you know. I'm not 200% convinced it's a good thing. I think at one point we want to move out from there, but it's really part of the ecosystem. Great outsourcing company because we have a great amount of talent, about 200,000 tech talent in Ukraine. Our universities, including our coding school that you see here, is producing about 20,000 new talents every year. So it's a growing population of amazing tech talent. And I think when you want to create an ecosystem, I usually share that idea that you really need 3 things. You need talent, and as I was mentioning, 200,000 of them. You need money, and you need a culture. Talent, we're very lucky in Ukraine because we have those. And I will come back to this in a second, sharing with you what we do at UNIT.City, but 200,000 people, more than 20,000 new professionals graduating every year. It's huge. I mean, it's something, if you don't have it, then it's one of the hardest things to get because you don't create strong universities and infrastructure in a minute. It takes time.
Dominique, sorry to interrupt you. Do you mind putting the screen at large? Because I think a few people are having a hard time with the size of the screen.
Okay, let me try to do this. Is it better?
Merci beaucoup. Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Excellent. Then what we see too is actually Ukraine and Kyiv is actually growing in terms of the place it has in tech ecosystem in the world. So we're working a lot with a company called Startup Blink that is actually ranking tech ecosystem in the world. They've been doing that for years. They have a very strong methodology. Kyiv is 32nd in the world in terms of startup ecosystem, out of 100 countries, out of 1,000 cities. So Kyiv is actually a really good place to start a company and to grow a company. And it's not only because of talent, it's also because of the ecosystem and the ecosystem we're creating. Actually, when we look at Ukraine, in general, Ukraine ranks 29th in terms of ecosystem out of 100 countries. So it's a good place for tech. Now I'm going to move in UNIT.City and talk to you and share with you an example of how do you create a tech ecosystem, how do you make it alive, how do you make it grow, how do you make it having an impact. And for us, it really starts with education. We strongly believe that you cannot create a good tech ecosystem if you don't have a good education. We've been traveling the world to understand the tech ecosystem. We've been to Silicon Valley several times. This is where I'm coming from. We've been to France. We've been to Israel. We've been to China, really to try to understand. And if you don't have a good, strong tech education, basically you have nothing. You will not build your ecosystem. So we decided to create our own. We started with our coding school. It's called UCode. We have about 1,000 students in UNIT.City. So if I remind you the number, 20,000 new tech developers or people in the country every year. Out of those 20,000, 1,000 is coming from UNIT.City, a UNIT.City school. And so UCode, it's a very interesting school. It's almost free. So really supported by UNIT.City, and we don't have any government money in UNIT.City. It's almost free, and it's and students usually stay about 2.5 years with us. And after that, well, they usually, actually, they always find a good job. But it's not just about the hard skill, it's also about the soft skills. And that's also something we discovered pretty early on. If you just have good coders, then you don't grow managers. So we decided to create the UNIT School of Business. And we have now strong soft skills trainings because we realize how important this is. Then we had to create a startup community. Because it's great if you have students and great developers, but if you don't have those startup community, you're not going to create value in the country. When I moved actually to UNIT.City, I was a bit shocked to see, oh my God, we have so many cool tech companies, but where are the startups? And I had a hard time finding them. We had them, but mostly not in UNIT.City for many reasons. One of them being we were too expensive because we're an extremely nice ecosystem. And so we decided to create a program for them. Our first program was Nest, which is a bootcamp program that is completely free for startup. We have we have 7 startups each time. So every 3 months, 7 to 10 new startups join us. But there's many other things around the UNIT.City ecosystem. One of them being the Ukraine Startup Fund that invest grants, that give grants to tech startup. A few other ones are acceleration programs. We have 8 of them in UNIT.City. But once again, what's important is we're trying to shift from a model where we have a lot of outsourcing. And once again, outsourcing is good. It's great. It gives work to people. It creates great products, but most of the value leaves the country. So you need to have a strong startup ecosystem if you want to create product companies that are going to create more value for your countries. So we had to create that startup ecosystem. Then we had to do something that actually I'm sure we all miss, events, bringing people together. And I think that's what we're doing, and it's great we can do it online. And actually, I wish we could visit you, and I wish you could visit us. But this is something that we miss at UNIT.City, and we did a lot of them. We had more than 500 events a year, 42,000 people coming to our place from more than 60 countries. Events are important because they enable you to create a network. And actually an ecosystem without a network is actually not a working ecosystem, because it's hard to do business purely online. You need to meet people, you need to create those connections, you need to ask questions. But more importantly, and this is kind of one of the value of UNIT.City, you need to create accidents. And to me, innovation happened by accidents, and that's the way Silicon Valley works. That's the way most ecosystem works. Actually, Steve Jobs was obsessed by creating those encounters between people's collisions. That's how he was calling them, and those happen most of the time offline. How much as we love online, unfortunately, great innovation rarely happen online. They usually happen by people meeting each other. And so we're missing that. This is something we're working on, and we will have hopefully soon. And so we bring great people like Steve Wozniak or Jack Ma, or some politician. Short comment here. You can't really create a great ecosystem of innovation without the involvement of the government, for many reasons. When we think about Silicon Valley would not exist without the involvement mostly of the Defense Department and CIA. Still today, when we look at how much the American government invests in Silicon Valley every year, it's between $1 to $1.5 billion out of $45 billion invested in Silicon Valley. So it's a lot of money. We have this in Ukraine now, thanks to the Ukrainian startup funds, thanks to the involvement of the Ministry of Digital Transformation. It's important. However, UNIT.City decided to be very independent for government money because we like our complete freedom. But we recognize and we support actually the involvement of the government. We also recognize that it's important to get organized. And I'm super happy that you had Natalia before, because initiatives like the Ukraine, the Tech Ukraine, are extremely important to create a sense of belonging and to create a sense of being together in the same battle, creating a platform for tech companies to get stronger. Startup is a very risky business. The chance of falling are extremely high. So if we don't have some safety around us, we miss opportunities. So a few cool people who visited us. We're trying to bring Silicon Valley actually also to Ukraine. One other point that is very important when we talk about Silicon Valley, we are not trying to recreate Silicon Valley. Actually, we don't believe that that this is doable, and we don't even believe that it's a good idea. However, we are very interested in trying to create some mindset of Silicon Valley, because we believe that there is a functioning model in Silicon Valley, and it's a lot around the culture, and it's a lot around the mindset. It requires a certain mindset to create startup companies, ability to fail, access to experience, actually recognition that failure is a learning process more than anything else. This is not usual. This is not usual actually for any country. This is not usual for France, where I'm coming from. This was not natural for Silicon Valley in the 70s. But I think that mindset is evolving, and you need to create a platform for this mindset to be able to grow. This is why we bring people like Andy Baines, who is the founder of Nest, who worked 10 years with Steve Jobs, to share, to explain, to nourish, or people like Jen Sidari from Zappos. And actually the example of Jen is very interesting, because what we're trying to build in UNIT.City is trying to build on what Ukraine is strong at or really good at. And not many people know that Ukraine has a lot of amazing designers, amazing, world class. Madonna is actually wearing hats from Ukrainian designers. She bought 100 of them, but it's not very well known. So by bringing people like Jen, who have that experience of building Zappos in the US, and bringing Zappos Couture to the next level, is extremely helpful for us, because we're bringing experience, we're bringing knowledge. And once again, you can go back to education. So, so if I move to actually the last layer of UNIT.City, and that was what should be interesting for you guys, is it's not about building buildings. Yes, UNIT.City is huge. It's an enormous park, 25 hectares. More than 30,000 people are going to work and live in UNIT.City when we're done building by 2025. So it's going to be the largest innovation park in Europe. The second one actually is in France, Station F, and it's 10 times smaller than UNIT.City. So what we're building is massive, but it's not about buildings. It's about ecosystem. But to build a successful ecosystem, you need to reach a certain scale. And that's really what we are trying to do in UNIT.City, to reach a scale where you will create those collisions that will create innovation. So 600,000 square meters of commercial real estate, 340,000 square meters of residential real estate, because actually UNIT.City is a city in the city. So you have here a few examples of what the buildings are looking like. Those buildings before is actually under construction. It's going to be finished in about 7 months. This is a new building we're building. This building as well is going to be ready in 7 months. And so you see, it's pretty innovative. It's pretty new. We want people to feel like they could be in Silicon Valley, they could be in New York, they could be anywhere in the world. It happens to be in Kyiv, in Ukraine. And of course, we're building UNIT.City around the concept of smart city, smart buildings, smart infrastructure, smart energy. Everything is green in UNIT.City to the highest standard. Safe city, smart home, and of course also smart life. And so this is really this idea of creating a platform where people will feel able to unleash their creativity, so they will build the next unicorns. We believe that Ukraine has that potential of building very strong tech companies. First, because of the talent, as I said, we have that talent. Second, because of the money, and more funds are coming to Ukraine, and that will necessarily continue. And third, because once again, the most important thing, we're trying to create a culture of innovation, a culture of change, a culture of where creating crazy cool company is actually possible. And it's actually what we're trying to build. So this is UNIT.City, and thank you. That was what I had to share with you, presenting our great ecosystem.
Amazing, Dominique. Thank you very much, first of all, for the amazing presentation. Of course, we know a bit about UNIT.City, but it's unbelievable to see the dimensions of what you guys are building. I've been to Station F, and just to think that it's 10 times bigger than that, it's mind blowing.
Yeah, I know, right? They don't believe it in France. When I tell my friend in Paris, oh, what I'm building is 10 times bigger than Station F. Xavier Niel is telling me, are you kidding me? It's impossible. I'm like,
I understand. It is
Yeah.
hard to believe, right? But yeah, it is amazing. And if you allow me, I'll just do a few of the highlights of what you mentioned in Portuguese, just because I want to make sure that they understand the dimension of it. And then I'll open for questions, if that's okay.
Of course.
Yeah, perfect. Então, pessoal, eu não sei se vocês captaram aí a dimensão do negócio, mas o que esses caras estão fazendo é incrível. O maior parque tecnológico da Europa, com tudo 100% tecnológico, obviamente vocês entenderam isso. Mas eu acho que a partir do momento que o próprio CEO deles, né, fala, beleza, a gente está construindo tudo isso aqui é incrível, né, o conceito do próprio espaço, mas ele fala, isso aqui não é sobre o espaço, não é sobre a gente ter um espaço incrível, sobre a gente ter aqui, né, a cidade que eles estão construindo, é sobre você desenvolver sua cultura, né, e eles trazem dentro desse espaço, né, os diferentes tipos de programa, incentivos para conseguir trazer essa cultura. Né? Então, que nem ele falou, você pegar um pouco de melhor do que tem no Vale do Silício, você pegar um pouco de melhor do que tem de Israel, do que tem da França, do que tem de Portugal, do que tem na Holanda, né? Trazer essas melhores práticas para um ecossistema que tem se desenvolvido tanto que nem a Ucrânia, né? E a partir disso, você criar essa cultura, né? Esse ecossistema que consegue, a partir dali, produzir mais unicórnios, né? Mais empresas interessantes, mais, enfim, inovações aí para mudar, né? O que a gente está vendo no nosso normal de hoje. Então, enfim, eu queria deixar esse destaque do quão incrível é o que esses caras estão fazendo e convidar vocês para fazer perguntas aí, que eu acho que, né, eles têm muito para ajudar e essa é a hora de vocês entenderem aí como. Inclusive, mandem aí no chat, eu vou abrir com essa pergunta aí agora e vocês fiquem bem à vontade para perguntar mais coisas, tá bom? Okay, so Dominique, I asked them, of course, to also give me a few, send me the questions that they have, but I have one already. And the first one is, how, if they want to go to Ukraine, and that's the idea here, right? They want to understand a bit more about Ukraine and open doors in case they actually want to expand. How can you guys help, right? So they're a Brazilian company, they want to give their first steps in the market. How can UNIT.City help them in that sense?
Well, I mean, many ways. First, we have a lot of partners and resident of UNIT.City. Some of them are IT recruitment companies. We have marketing agencies. We have people actually like Kirill's company. We can also help. There's tons of options, from hiring a team, from setting up a company, from designing a company, from hiring. I mean, anything people need to open a company in Ukraine. I mean, we can help with. It's very, I mean, it's easy and uneasy. The easy part is to come and to set up a team. The hard part is, of course, do business, like always in life. So we can help with the easy part, and we can support with the harder one. But just send us an email, Dominique@unit.City, super easy. We can help and support, of course.
Oh, amazing. And that was the second question that came on board, which is, in Brazil, we have great solutions, but not good ITs. Can UNIT.City support some startups with technology? So I guess finding this company and developing the technology itself.
Yes. Yes, of course. And once again, we have several residents. One of them is a company called Global Talent, for example, and Global Talent can help any company in the world, any startup in the world that wants to connect with a team or create a team, dedicated team. But once again, we have a lot of that in Ukraine. It's super easy.
Amazing. We have another one coming on board. What about hardware companies? Is it also an ecosystem for hardware companies in Ukraine?
Absolutely. We love hardware. We adore hardware. You have to understand that people don't know this, but the guy who invented the helicopter, Sikorsky, the guy is Ukrainian. I mean, we build the biggest airplane in the world currently flying. So we love hardware. We have amazing engineers. Actually, in UNIT.City, we have a lab called Fab Lab with more than 100 3D printers. We do prototyping. We have robots company in UNIT.City. We have 7 of them. We have several companies in solar gaps, and so on. So actually, it's a good point, because for many years Silicon Valley was known for software, not for hardware. I think we have a really good mix actually in Ukraine between hardware company and software company. Some of them are becoming very famous. I'm thinking, of course, of Ring that belongs to Amazon. I'm thinking of Ajax, which is also a company building security products. And you know what's interesting is for example with Ring and Ajax, they came to us and said, look, we need to find more developers who understand Internet of Things. And with UCode at Coding School, we developed special program to develop talents specifically for them. And this is also something we can do. We can really work on the needs of companies in terms of what type of talents do we need to move forward. And actually that's also something we do, but we love hardware.
You were so excited that now I want to open a hardware startup in Ukraine.
I know, but hardware is cool. I mean, hardware is cool, guys.
Very nice, very nice. And we have 2 last ones here, and I think we'll finish with these 2 because of time reasons also. The first one is, first of all, Dominique, awesome presentation, and I agree. What kind of capabilities, technologies, and partner is the Ukrainian ecosystem looking for? So say maybe where is the gap there?
To me, it's very simple. We are missing a good VC ecosystem. So we have the talents. I think we're starting to have the ideas. We don't have good investors yet. We have some, but it's a very beginning. I was mentioning before outsourcing, and outsourcing is very interesting. It's very good. It's not very capital intensive. It's kind of easy to start an outsourcing company. After, it's hard to grow it because you need to find clients, you need to have talent. It's a complex business, don't get me wrong, but it's not super capital intensive. It's exactly the opposite with a startup. A startup is very capital intensive and it's very hard to start making money. We don't have that capital yet, or we don't have enough of it. So I think that's our main challenge. A lot of people view still Ukraine as a risky country to invest in for many reasons, and some of them are good, some of them are very valid. And usually in venture capital, you don't want to add risk to risk. It's already risky to invest in startup. You don't want to have another layer of risk. So I think today this is our main challenge, to build an investment culture. You know, when I explain to people here in Ukraine, to be successful in VC, you need to invest in 10 companies and 7 are going to die. And you're going to lose your money on 7. People are like, what? 7 are going to die? My heart is going to fail. I cannot support that as an investor. It's too painful. And I understand. And if you're not ready for that, don't do it. But this is our challenge today. One of our challenges. I think our biggest challenge.
Very good. Thanks for explaining that. Yeah, and also very important, right? I mean, you need to be very real. And if companies want to take a step into Ukraine, they also should know that this could be a challenge.
Yes.
And also very nice, because I think on Thursday, Kirill, please let me know if I'm wrong, but on Thursday we have Investors Day, right? Yeah, perfect. And then we can go much deeper there. Perfect. And I'll do a last question here just because of timing reasons, but that's from Marco. And he said, I believe that many tech parks around the world have faced troubles. And I guess it's because they're simply trying to replicate Silicon Valley, which is exactly what you were mentioning before. So what is the importance of local culture and specialization and that specialization to build your own innovation ecosystem?
I think that element is absolutely key. Silicon Valley is a crazy place, right? It's a place where, no, but people need to understand that. It's a place where you have about 5,000 to 7,000 startups at any moment. And most of them are going to die. But they're just here to create one thing, which is the best in the world in its category. There's only one Facebook. There's only one Google. There's only one Airbnb. And they all come from Silicon Valley because the system is designed to create that type of monopoly. It's only possible there because of the amount of money there is, because of the history, etc. So you don't want to duplicate that, because if you try to duplicate that, you're going to create something that is not going to work. What you want to create is an ecosystem that is going to complement that, or that is going to work with that, understanding the mindset and creating companies that have the potential to potentially at one point go to Silicon Valley and become a market leader. So you have to build on your own culture. You have to create your own culture in many ways, and you have to work with the existing culture. And this is really what we're trying to do here in UNIT.City, and that's very specific. And I think that's why we have a chance to succeed. And what is our culture? We have a very strong technical culture in Ukraine, and so we're building on that. Say, okay, we're really good at technical. Let's start with this basic layer and build on it, and then we're adding soft skills on top of it: marketing, sales. Things that Ukrainians are not very good at traditionally. We're trying to bring this, and actually those are programs, acceleration program we're building with UC Berkeley, with Cornell, with INSEAD, with all those people who have great knowledge that we can learn from. But we're not trying to compete. We're trying to build with. We're trying to connect. To create bridges, which is, in my view, what is going to make our ecosystem of innovation successful.
Very nice. And that also comes with the concept of ecosystem, right? If you think of ecosystem, it's the idea is to be collaborative and not competitive.
Exactly.
So that is very nice insight.
Yeah.
Very nice, very nice. Dominique, I mentioned that was the last question, but just a very quick one because I saw here. Fabiano is asking if you guys have a focus on agri-techs as well.
Of course, we love agri-tech. Actually, we have an agro accelerator in UNIT.City and everything agri. We love it. Tons of robots, tons of drones in UNIT.City doing agri stuff that I personally don't really understand, but I love watching it.
Very nice, very nice. Dominique, thank you very, very much. Really valuable insights for everyone here, not only for the startups for sure. Do you have any last words for the group?
Come and visit. I mean, Ukraine, it's very simple. You have to come and visit. Once you taste the food, feel the vibe, feel the energy, well, you're not going to go back anywhere. Hey, don't get me wrong, Brazil is pretty cool, right? So, right, so we don't have great caipirinhas, but we have pretty good cocktails. So come and visit.
That's a very good selling point. Amazing. Dominique, thank you very much. Kirill, do you want to say some last words?
Thanks for joining us, Dominique. I really love that we have UNIT.City in Ukraine, because it's a key thing that really promotes the ecosystem. And I believe it could become a really huge magnet for all people around the globe and from the Europe. And especially one more thing I would like to highlight and add to Dominique's speech. I think one great speciality of UNIT.City and great thing about it that if you want to connect with Ukraine and you want to reach somebody, UNIT.City network is something that can give you a really great quality of contacts, because you know, in each country you have great people and bad ones, somebody who can give you bad advices or something that will be not useful for your business. But I think that a great thing about UNIT.City is that they have a great people around it, and if they advise you something, it can give you great result. But you need to know what you want to ask on the entrance and specify your requests, because I believe Dominique receives a lot of different requests from a lot of companies, so you need to be specific. That's all. Yeah, thanks for the speech, Dominique.
Thank you.
Amazing. So Dominique, thank you very much. Kirill, thank you very much. If you don't mind, I'll say some last words in Portuguese just to make the life of our spectators easier. But thank you very much again. And yeah, I'm sure you're going to receive a bunch of emails from the interested people. Cool. Pessoal, vamos lá. Recados finais em português aí para deixar a vida de vocês mais fácil. Esse foi o nosso primeiro dia. Eu espero que vocês tenham gostado bastante. Vou recapitular um pouco das coisas aqui que me impressionaram. Eu acho que muito legal conhecer um pouco da trajetória do país, entender como que foi criado todo esse ecossistema de inovação. E acho que mais do que isso, é descobrir um pouco da potência que a Ucrânia tem, que não parece uma coisa tão óbvia para a gente. Então, acho que a gente deixa aí esse primeiro dia com, pelo menos eu, com um pouquinho de essa aguinha na boca para saber mais, para saber como que a gente pode, enfim, aproveitar o que esse mercado tem para oferecer, que é o que a gente vai descobrir nos próximos dias. Então, a gente se encontra amanhã de novo aqui, mesmo bate-horário, mesmo bate-local. Se vocês tiverem alguma dúvida aí nesse meio do caminho, fiquem à vontade para me mandar um e-mail. E eu vou mandar depois também um e-mail com um resumo aí e o vídeo para vocês assistirem a gravação depois do que estiver pronto, Eu gravei aqui a sessão inteira, tá bom? Então, gente, muito obrigado pela presença, pelo compartilhamento de vocês aí também, de perguntar dúvidas, de compartilhar o que vocês estão pensando. A gente vai se ver amanhã, então. Valeu, gente! See you guys tomorrow. Kirill, thank you very much, man.
Yeah, thank you. See you tomorrow.
I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'll stop with the recording.